Hello everybody and welcome to CCIR Student Research Spotlight. I'm Nell and it's my pleasure to welcome here today Kaan. Kaan is from Turkey and in their 10th grade. And during a time in CCIR, he worked with Professor Sophia Singler, researching in the field of architecture, which is going to be very interesting to hear about. So Kaan, hello, welcome. I wonder if you could start by telling us the title of your project and summarizing the key points.
Generally, the main theme of the research program was about the modernism in architecture, but we started from like the Beaux-Arts movement and went on. The Art Nouveau movement really took my attention, and then I started going on my research project, and that went on.
Fantastic.
And if I want to explain about the key points are the general movements and the Bauhaus, I can say. Those were the key points that we have stopped and thought more about.
So Kaan, what was the inspiration for this research and this field of work? Has this always been something you've been interested in, or is it a recent revelation?
Personally, I wanted to just attend like a research program and was creating like trying to create like a research project, and the writing process and all the stuff that all took my attention, and the architecture was mainly my future career, I say, and that's why I have chosen the architecture section of the program to write a research.
And how did you decide of what part of architecture you were interested in? Had you always been interested in the sort of modernism style, or did you sort of decide to go down that route? You just chose something, or yeah?
Like my research, I kind of became interested in Art Nouveau as we went on by the lectures given by our professor, and the effects of the Art Nouveau to the Turkey really and the Ottoman Empire, I say, really had a big impact in the city itself. And when I have visited Istanbul, and it really took my attention when I have seen the buildings that I have mentioned in my research. That's why I stopped and worked on the Art Nouveau and the Istanbul on my research.
Fantastic. Do you feel that it's sort of given you a new way of looking at Turkey and Istanbul and where you live, having done this project?
Excuse me, can you please?
Do you feel like you have a new perspective of the architecture where you live now, having done this project?
Yes, I kind of really get a new perspective in looking at in these buildings with the lectures given by our professor, and the research made by me really gave me a new perspective in Istanbul, thinking about the buildings and the movements that had impact on the buildings themselves. And yes, and generally the foreign architects had a big impact in the building process of these buildings, and that's why it took my attention, and that really changed my perspective in way of looking at the ethnicity and the background of the architectures.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. So nice to be able to connect to it personally as well. So you said you fancy a career in architecture. How do you feel that your time with CCIR has affected your future plans? You know, the knowledge that you've gained, both sort of academically in terms of your subject, but also in terms of being in an academic environment in a university setting, working with a specialist. How has that affected your plans to study architecture in the future?
So it really gave me a rough perspective on the process of writing and creating research, and it kind of made me to step into the research section of the literature and the architectural history literature, and Other than that, I can say that the research that I have made gave me a new perspective in talking people about architecture, and it made me to just feel more free about the movements itself and the connect the buildings and connect the movements between the buildings themselves in movements and create interpretations of stuff. It helped me to gain more ability in doing this. Yes.
That's very interesting. How, in terms of like communicating about your subject, how was it working with an expert in the field you're interested in? You know, working with Sophia and adjusting to this new way of working. How did you find that process?
I can say working with an expert really helped me to understand the terminology behind the architecture itself. Knowing kind of a bit about the terminology itself, I can say I have learned a lot and about the buildings and themselves and the their plans and the elevations and such. So that really helped me to step in more about architecture and become more near to my future career, and it really helped me to it will help me to understand more about architecture and make my steps on architecture and so on.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And personally, do you feel like it has been, I imagine it must be quite daunting going into a new environment like this and doing a research project that you've not done before. Do you feel like it has helped boost your confidence in any way, or you know, what have the rewards been, I suppose, and what are the challenges as well of this new environment?
Generally, the challenges were the time constraints that I had, because the time that I made the research was kind of rough for me, because I had a lot of other clubs and the other activities that I had to attend. But and sometime I really attended the lecture at Izmir in an MUN conference. That was kind of weird, but it was fun for me. So generally, the time constraints were kind of hard for me, but I got over it eventually. And I can probably say that I became more confident in speaking in architecture. That's what I can say.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. Please, could you tell us a little bit about like the application process to CCIR? I actually don't really know much about it, and how you go about applying and what the application entails. Is it quite a long process, or because it's very competitive, isn't it?
It was competitive, and my selection process was kind of long for me, because I had like an defer letter from the academics team, and then they accepted it, and I also kind of it took a long time to get scholarship from the program itself. So that was kind of process of application that was long for me. And in the application process, it was okay to apply, and it was competitive, because I had to be in an interview with a master student, no, with a PhD student from King's College, and it was kind of a rough speak with her, but it was okay. I got over it, I say.
Yeah, I imagine that's a really good sort of, well, you definitely had a practice for if you ever did want to apply to Oxbridge or any other sort of Russell Group university, going through that rigorous application process and interview. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. So what would your advice be to anybody thinking of applying to CCIR? What are your top tips?
So I can say you should try your chance once, even if you don't got accepted, and from a person who got deferred and then accepted and then gets a scholarship, I can say that you should apply to the program itself, and be confident in your interviews with with the interviewers. That's what I can say about, and the research process will be great for you. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's lovely to hear that sort of, you had that drive and you had that determination to go through, and you didn't get knocked back by being deferred the first time. So no, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap up, or?
No, thanks. Thank you.
No. Okay. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.